Not in the top 5 is G2. Not in the lineup this week will be Perkz for a very good reason. He's going to go spend some time with his family. Of course, condolences, as Jacob mentioned to him. His father passed away due to cancer, so he's going to go be with his family a little bit in Croatia, and then he will be back in action in the near future. We don't know exactly when, but at least for the time being, P1noy will be back in bot lane for G2. There's the tweet that Luca Perkz put out, saying that he just needed to go and de-stress. Completely understandable. We wish him good vibes and good times with his family as he recovers. Let's talk about P1noy. Let's talk about G2 with P1noy in the lineup now. What will P1noy bring to this lineup, and how will G2 perform around P1noy in bot lane? Jacob, do you think that this will be a good? Do you think P1noy will rise to the occasion?
No. I like. It's hard to say, right? It's been a long time. I went to find today for our producer Jarrett. I went to find P1noy's last game in an LCS because he did have a stint in North American Challenger. I went to go find his last game in the LCS, and it was in I believe 2014 or 2015 with Gambit. That was the last time he played, and it was in a relegation series against Mousesports. And Gambit wins this series 3-0 to spoil it if you've never seen it. And P1noy, actually, I was pretty high on the P1noy fumes when he was in the EULCS. I actually thought he could be really good. But it's just been so long since he's been playing at the professional level. And I can't help but think, and I know I was the one just championing MASH and Ourim earlier in the bad situations they were in. But Gambit wasn't a terribly managed team at the time. They were like middle of the pack in terms of like prestige and management. Everybody was kind of sloppy back then anyway. But it's been like a very long time since he's played at that level. And I just like Perkz is one of the best AD carries in Europe when he's like himself, right? Like we've talked about this before, how well he did and exceeded expectations in 2019 when he was on this position. And so like P1noy can't fill those shoes. My thought is whether or not he needs to fill those shoes 1-to-1, right? Like can Caps, can Wonder, can Jankos, right? Can any three of those guys, like, can top side of the map carry these games? Possible. Totally possible, right? Like, especially with the opponents they have coming up on the calendar this week. So maybe P1noy doesn't need to do anything more than, like, do a good 25% of team damage, right? Like, just be there and, like, contribute to fights. But that's the big question. But no, he cannot fill the Perkz shoes. But I don't know if he necessarily needs to.
That was going to be my point, actually, because if there's one person I believe in, actually, I believe in a lot of players on this team, but one person that I think doesn't get a lot of credit that he deserves is Mickey X. Mr. Thank you for your question. I love Mickey. I think that he deserves a lot of credit for helping both Caps and Perkz adjust to bot lane. I think he's actually done a lot of heavy lifting that people just haven't seen, and both Caps and Perkz have actually credited him for this in interviews. I do think that they can keep their bot lane under control enough for G2 to go for a more solo lane focused style. And I actually, again, G2 has played this style like previously with really strong success. That's what got them to so far against a lot of odds in the 2018 World Championship with a completely different bot lane. And I think that they could easily do something like what we saw from, and again, bringing it back to LPL because I always have to because I'm a pain in the butt like that. EDG had to emergency start their trainee AD carry that they had recently bumped up, BBD, not to be confused with BDD, the South Korean mid laner.
That's not confusing at all.
Yeah, I know. BBD is a Chinese bot laner who they brought up from their LDL team, and he had to make his debut because Hope, their starting AD carry, and kind of the bot lane trainee that they've put a lot of effort into raising, had a collapse lung, like a spontaneous pneumothorax. So he's recovering. They had to start him. They went for a more solo lane focused style. I'm not going to say that EDG looks great right now. I think they're missing Hope a lot, and they have not performed particularly well since he has been out. But I did like, especially in their first series, how they drafted around their solo lanes and tried to take pressure off of BBD. So they weren't like here is a Felios and you have to do all the damage and our composition is going to be solely around you. And if you don't do it, then we're completely scuffed and it's going to be terrible. That's not what they did at all. They focused a lot more on their solo lanes. In the game that they won, Audi performed really, really well in the top lane as Camille. And I think that G2 can easily go with a more solo lane focused style. Or if they want to focus around having a high damage jungler, that's also another option for them. And they can give Jankos a lot more carry potential as well. I think the big thing here is that G2 still has so many weapons that it might not matter what their bot lane is, as long as they can keep it like even / not like even / losing gracefully. If they can make that up in the rest of the map, they should still win. Misfits and Excel are their upcoming opponents, so I think Misfits can give them can get a lot of punches in. That's probably the tougher opponent if I'm looking at these two teams, but it's not a completely dire situation. I think G2 still has the tools to win.